Hello, 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 my PFL buddies. It's your boy, The Bird, bringing you episode 4 of Inside the Mind with yours truly. So, in this episode, we'll be covering defensive hot routes, defensive and linebacker shifts with explanations. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So, basically, we're gonna go with a basic 4-3 stat. Okay, and we're gonna do a zone blitz out of it. Alright, and then we're gonna just let them do any old set first. We're just gonna pick a jumbo out of the single back. We'll do a stretch. Alright, so the purpose of shifting defensive linemen is to either get a lineman through a gap, alright, that they're assigned. Alright, so a gap in between the offensive linemen's blocking. Alright, so we talked about gaps before, right? So the A gap is between the left and right of the center. So on each side, the center side, okay? So left and right of the center are A gaps, okay? B gaps are between the guard and the tackles, all right? And then C gaps are essentially on the outside of whoever the furthest blocker. So typically the outside attacker or the tight end if they have one back blocking, or fullback if they have one on the line. But essentially C gaps are the furthest ones on the outside of the offensive line. So the goal here is to get someone through there, right? Self-explanatory, but it's not really all that easy, right? So what we're gonna do is the number one recipe for success by shifting defensive linemen is that you shouldn't just be doing it arbitrarily. All right, you should have an idea as to where your offensive the offense wants to go. Okay, so you should have an idea of what your opponent wants to do. All right, in order to get the good kind of gap pressure that you want. All right, so let's say for the sake of speeding things, we know that they're going to do a run to the outside. All right, so we've essentially already got a good run defense set up for that conveniently. All right. So the goal here is to get people through those gaps as much as possible. So you do that, you shift a linebacker by hitting RB and press right on the left thumbstick to shift your linebackers to the right, left, right. This is a good thing to do if you don't want to overcommit or you don't want to let the defense know, I mean the offense, excuse me, know that you know where they want to go. All right. So you already got this guy blitzing. All right. So what you can do is you can trick him and say, "Hey, I don't want to think. Let him know that I'm blitzing this guy, and that I know he's running to the right. Because if you shift everybody over here, right, is someone gonna run it there? Probably not, unless they're like adamant about running that play and they think they can get lucky with it. And let's see what happens if you do shift those personnel over there and someone still decides to run it. It gets stuffed. Oh, well, I didn't mean to toss it, but essentially it gets stuffed. Sorry about that, guys. But you see the outcome, right? If someone's adamant about running if you shift. So they're going to probably auto bob, try to bring the play back the opposite side. So the good thing to do is don't overcommit your line too much, okay? A good thing to do so you can disguise what you're trying to do. You know where the play is going. So hit LB, all right, to bring up the defensive lineman audibles, all right, and crash right. All right, if you want to, if you're positive, now use this with caution because we're gonna see what happens when they do continue to run the play that way. And let's say, sorry, I'm trying to do two controllers. You make them think that you're trying to bring heat on the outside. That guy's dropping back in the zone. He's not coming in for the blitz, but you want him to think that, right? So he runs this play, this toss out here. I mean, this off tackle out here. Okay. Let's see what happens. Still get good results. You're still getting block sheds, all right, and you're still getting out there. Let's repeat it. All right. Without switching our linebackers or baiting them into doing the play, making them think that it's still good to go. That time it got open. So like anything, doesn't always work, but it's a good thing to try to bait someone to. And I see if you don't overcommit to one side and you keep it standard, and the player still wants to go to that side. I, I forgot to crash that time. Now let's crash right. Try that again.
Let's go. Blue 58. Blue 58.
Welcome back, guys, to your next episode of Inside the Mind. This will be episode 4, defensive hot routes, defensive and linebacker shift with explanations as to why and when you would do it in. Okay, I'm your host, The Bird, and we'll get into it. All right, let's start with the hot routes. Okay, so let's say we're gonna pick a basic 4-3 cover sky press, right? All right, and for the offense, we're gonna run I formation, PA round support. Let's see. There we go. Play action power O, right? People like this one a lot because it sends the tight end to a corner route. All right, so let's see what happens when you run this play in the standard formations. All right, see what kind of success can we get on offense. Tight end, wide open, right?
Blue 58.
So tight end's wide open on that play. So let's look for a remedy for that play we just ran. So you're gonna want to audible this individual who's normally in a flat into oh man, I'm jacking up. Okay, so all right, so he's in the deep purple. All right, so he's gonna play back and play a purple zone, and let's see what kind of luck we get now. Sorry, trying to get used to use 2 controllers.
White 90.
All right, so you already suspect this a play action, so the first thing you do is play the pass. Next thing you're gonna do to stop this type of route, they hike the ball. You don't even have to use it. Let's see what happens when we let the computer run it. He has to get the ball out faster. If nothing else, you have to get the rock out faster. So let's look at it again. When he plays a normal flat, wide open, right? Kyle Rudolph.
Get ready. Blue 58.
And then we audible this guy out. All right. Into a curl to flat. We won't use her or anything. We'll see what the computer does. Standard. Wow. He still caught it, but you had a defender there. All right. Surprisingly, he was still able to catch it, but you had a defender there. He was not nearly as open as he was before. So that's good for those type of corner routes where people love sending the tight end to. All right. Another thing you can do for a defensive hot route. Let's say someone's beating you up with slants. There are 2 ways you can stop slants. You can, one, bring that safety down on that side, right? And have him play another hook zone. Play underneath. And let's send it. Wide open, right? What you can do to bait him I am jacking my audibles up right now. Excuse me. All right. Let's put this guy on the side that he's going to be on, that the slant's coming,
Forward,
and
forward.
a spy.
Set.
It delays it.
Set.
Let's see that again.
180.
It's a good way to stop the. Oh, you can spy him. Let's see him.
Forward,
You can spy your middle linebacker and see what happens.
set.
So people have to wait. They have to wait. But see, the best thing about it is that
Let's go.
the quarterback had to wait on it. He had to wait on it. So you're not gonna always be able to stop it. And if you can use it at to bring him across too. But the biggest thing about that hot route is making the quarterback hold onto the ball. Okay. You can also try like sorry. Let's take that sack. Forgot I had the offense.
Set. White 90.
Let's say you want to really play with him a little bit. You send a D tackle who's athletic back into a spy to stop a slant
Forward,
coming on that slide.
Hut.
Look at that. That delay I had to do because
Blue 58.
I brought the the defensive tackle back in the spy. It's just enough to cause him to throw it to the middle linebacker who is waiting there in that zone. Okay, so that's a good thing to start the underneath stuff. And of course, that's just for zone. If you're zone heavy type of guy, you can always run man. You got a good man corner. Okay, and make him play inside for a cover adjustment. Jam him up. And to make that guy hold, let's see what we get.
Dagger, dagger. Hut.
He's playing inside now. Couldn't get it to him.
Get ready. Blue 58. Blue 58.
All right, so let's talk about other defensive hot routes you could do. Let's say you got a nice mobile quarterback. He's eating you alive, eating you alive, eating you alive. You could do one or two things. You can put him in, someone down in the box into a spy. All right. Let's see what happens when we put Roman Harper in a spy.
Set.
Let me run a play. He's rolling with him, rolling with him. The spy is best used
Let's go. Blue 58. Set. Blue 58.
with the middle linebacker, in my opinion. And when you spy the middle linebacker, it's always good to do this. Don't crash him down yet. You got somebody who's heavy on the rollout, right? They love rolling out with the guy. Let's switch to a play where we can send some guys deep.
Let's go. Dagger, dagger.
All right, we got some guys going deep now.
Hut.
Rolling out. It's hard trying to do this with two controllers.
Go.
So we're going to switch
Blue 58.
and show you
Get ready.
again.
Two jet, two jet, two jet, two jet, two jet, two jet. Hut.
So you roll them out, right? Jeez, I forgot to put that guy in the spy.
Set. White 90. White 90.
All right, so he's in the spot now, Luke Kuechly. We're going to roll out
White
with
90.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Two jet, two jet. Dagger.
We're going to block max protect. So I'm going to roll out with Teddy Bridgewater. And as soon as you get out the tackles, is when you hit right thumbstick in to crash that spy down on him. Don't crash the spy out until he gets outside those tackles. Once that happens, crash the spy down on the guy.
Let's go. 180. Set.
It is hard trying to do this with two controllers, but you guys get the idea.
180. 180. Dagger. Dagger.
Now we're gonna go over defensive line shifts. Let's get this one controller going though. Put those guys back with the computer. Okay, when it comes to switching the offense of this sending heat through the gaps, before we get into it, the whole purpose of sending heat through the gap, the whole purpose of shifting your lineman, excuse me, is to send heat through the gap. So in order to do that, you have to first know where the play is going to go, or at least have an idea where the play is going to go. And the only way you can really know where a play is going to go is that you either have to have seen that formation before and know the strengths of that formation, the type of plays people typically like to run out of that formation. And then really the only way to get like that is through practice, okay? Either through head-to-head, league games in PFL, or practice mode. Ideally, it's good to play against a lot of human opponents because the computer doesn't play the same way as so computer AI does not play the same as humans do. They don't hit the same plays as humans do, and they don't make the same errors that the CPU will. So the best, in my opinion, is to get as much reps as you can against human opponents. You can see the tendencies that that human opponents like to run, the plays they like to run typically. Okay. That's the best tip I can say in order to understand how you want to get people through gaps. Okay. All right. So once you know where a play is going, so let's say you already had a good idea that they're running this bad boy, right? Play action. The best thing to stop play action, right, is to send edge heat. So we're gonna send edge heat. Best way to get edge heat is that we're gonna try to make the lineman force a double team somewhere. Our defense lineman force a double team somewhere. And right now, it looks like we're going to be able to force the double team on the left side. All right. The weak side of the play. Let's see if we can get this off.
Two jet. Hey.
Edge heat.
Set. 180.
So when you know the play action's coming, send edge heat.
Set. 180. 180. Hey.
Computer's hiking it before I can get to him.
Let's go. Blue 58. Hey.
Send edge heat. It's the best thing. So that's a great linebacker adjustment you can make.
180.
Switch to a blitz, spread them out. Send edge heat. It gets there consistently on play actions.
Go. Blue
They're going to have to block
Blue 58.
an extra guy in order to stop it. See, I didn't even blitz that time, and we disrupted it. I just want to show you guys how it looks when you spread the linebackers out
Be ready. White 90. White
and you
90.
guess the pass.
Hey.
See, the pass rush still getting there. I'm sending 4 guys,
Let's go.
still getting there by edge rushing.
Hey.
So if you don't want to say your defense out too much, that's all you have to do too. All right. So let's say you're unsure whether or not play action is coming. The edge rush. That's the defense adjustment you can make with the line. Edge rush. It's there. 4-man rush.
Be ready. 180.
All right. So let's see how it looks against a run and play, making defensive shifts. We're gonna do random. with both of these guys. Let's see what we can get.
Get ready! 180!
Bring him down. Wow, I can't believe he called that. But we had 2-on-1. That's just a fluke Madden thing.
White 90!
So on that play, that's the computer lights creek hiking. What I did is hit RB, pinch my linebackers in. Before this is all happened before the snap of the ball. Because I was under the impression that he may have been running underneath. Play action came. I got good block shares, luckily. So I still got heat up the middle. Usually edge heat is what gets there unimpeded, but I was still able to get some A-gap heat down through there. We had the freaking defense on that, but oh well. So that's a good adjustment to make. So in a nutshell, you want to send as much combinations as you can. So let's say, let's go back to the controller.
Set! White 90!
Let's try to get some heat. So crashing, whatever you want to do, you want to crash left, crash right, edge rush, crash the middle, right? Crash the middle is good for stopping dives, quarterback sneaks. Edge rush, good for getting heat on play actions and outside runs, okay? And then crash lefts are good for the zone type of runs, inside zone, outside zones, okay? They also disrupt the inside run, but depending on the blocking schemes, you're not gonna get as much penetration as you normally like.
Force! Force!
All right. So they got an inside zone going on right here. So let's see what happens now when we hide the ball. We stunt, we crash our defensive lineman to the left, and we send our linebacker straight head on. See, they take up the blocks.
Get ready! Blue 58! Blue 58!
The best thing I can tell you is try to give your defense looks. All right. Always know that if you do overcommit to one side, your opponent can always take the play out to a different side on you. They can always. It's always good to try to keep it balanced. Okay. So if you are gonna shift all your linemen over to one side to the right, you already got this defensive end Charles Johnson outside of I think that's Phil Lowe. Right. So he's already outside of him. So a good thing you can do is crash him left, right, just to protect against what's the most likely play that can be ran out of here, an inside zone. Okay, some people do counters. That's something you got to be mindful of if someone's running a counter on you. All right, so on this play, because the counter is good to counter overly aggressive defenses, so it's always try to good to keep it balanced. Okay, and then so we're crashing the the defensive lineman left. And we're bringing our linebackers left.
Set! Blue 58! Blue 58!
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers, okay? So you got 6 blockers, 5 defenders. Someone's gonna force a double team. Alright, so the best thing about this is send them on the air rush. And see if we can get heat. from the outside, because the AI, the computer AI, no matter what, if it's user or not, they're always going to block inside to outside. That's the first thing they're going to do first. They're programmed to block inside to outside first. All right. So they're always trying to pick up the guys who are rushing up the A gaps or inside pressure first, no matter what gap they're trying to shoot through. So let's see if we can, how much he gets without us doing anything on defense. We're going to take control of the offensive side of the ball. Okay. So that took about almost
Let's go.
a little over 2 seconds to get there.
180.
All right. So yeah, guys, not really complicated, not much to it. It's probably more complicated and elaborate than it needed to be, and I hope I touched on everything. If not, I can definitely give it a go again. Yeah, that's essentially it for those type of shifts. When it comes to, let's see, another hot route. So we already discussed the spy, deep zones, right? So we know what deep zones do. All right, so they are going to send, let's say someone's killing you at the seam, You can send this guy on a deep zone, bring him over top. Send him on a deep zone, bring him over top. You see how it does? But the thing about that one is, they're gonna slowly start tracking off. So if that guy's wise to you, let's see how it looks when we send him on the street. Now that we've audibled out. See?
Let's go. 180. Force.
Before, that way you guys can see how far those guys go down.
Force. Set.
Running down. They will continue to play that person as long as they're in their zone.
White 90. White 90.
Deep zones are good for people who are running seams. It's good to put a deep zone if you have somebody in the seam to stop those seam streaks or those attacks with the tight ends or the slot receiver. You can always put a lineman in a curl to flat. All right. Or let's say you got a guy that's eating you up with 2 routes to the flats. Put that lineman out there. And then put him into a hook zone. Why? Because it's going to give the appearance that he's going to run down with Mike Wallace. But he's not. He's going to stop short. But that's going to give him enough time to bring the safety over to help and for the lineman to get out there and cover whatever running back is running out there. Let's see if we can pick a play to get someone out there. Okay, so perfect.
Tiger. Hey.
Look at that. Locked up.
Let's go.
So let's look at that in the replay. Ball is snap. Lineman instantly goes out to cover. Jared McKinnon. Shaq Thompson's playing any type of corner route someone's running. And see Josh Norman, because this zone is so high, look how far he ran down. You see the benefit of knowing your personnel and having high play recognition? I put him in the hook zone. He should have passed this zone off a long time ago. Right about here is when he should have stopped covering him. But he didn't, because he has high zone and play recognition. He knew where he was going and kept following this guy down. He didn't pass him off to the safety. So he stretched that zone out another 15 yards. So knowing your personnel can help you too, because in that case, I could have brought Shaq Thompson down for him to play another zone on this side if someone was beating me up on that side. So that's why, like, to really hot route, you need to know your personnel, because typically most corners aren't going to run that far down. But Josh Norman has high zone and play rate, so he followed him down several yards downfield. That's happening. Let's see what happens when Ben Rickery gets someone in the slot on that side, a less talented corner, just so you can see their effects. That's Charles Tillman. All right. Let's put him in the hook zone. That's Trent. Kurt Coleman back. Actually, let's do this. Cover 2. There we go. Put him in the hook zone. All right. Gonna do the same thing with Jared Allen. Running to that side. You're getting beat up in the flats.
White 90. White 90. Force. Force. Two jet. Two jet. Force. 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 Force.
Send Cal Rudolph on the out. So, we snap the ball. Everything's locked up. So, in order to be able to hot route in a nutshell, guys, is you just need to know what in the general idea of what your opponent wants to do, okay? So, to keep this video from being too much longer, that's all I got for you guys. On to the next one, where I will give a in-depth explanation about defensive adjustments and how I like to use them. All right, that's it for now. Have a great one, guys.